Jump off that exhausting hamster wheel and into balanced living with Dr. Marissa.
Promise you joy in the mystery.
Dr. Marissa, also known as the Asian Oprah. Her mission, to be a beneficial presence on the planet. Her purpose, to be your personal advocate to live, laugh, love, learn. Her life motto, don't die wondering. Take back your life with Dr. Marissa Pay.
And welcome. You're tuned in to Take My Advice. I'm not using it. Get balanced with Dr. Marissa, the morning show here on NBC News, CNBC News, and NBC Sports radio station KCAA, AM 1050, FM 106.5, and streaming everywhere. iHeartRadio, Spotify, Stitcher, iTunes, TuneIn, Audible, Amazon Music, JioSaavn, Tiki Live, Podchaser, Rumble, and more. Why so many places? Because I want to maximize my splatter zone for more hope and happiness. So there's no gossip on the show, no scandal, no rumors, no K words, no Kardashian talk, and no Kanye talk either, because I want you to focus on your own reality show and how you can be happy 88% of the time. So I have topics and guests. If you missed any of my past interviews, Fran Drescher came on to talk about how to prevent your risk of cancer. Corey Feldman, half the cast of Happy Days, Leave It to Beaver, you name it. I've got the Waltons coming on soon. So you just keep it here because I really want you to up-level your happiness. And that's why I have a special series. Mondays now are my life balance or happiness coaching Mondays. And I have volunteers who come and lay their opportunities for more happiness on the table of my life and theirs. And that's what we're doing today. I'm so happy to welcome John into the studio. Good morning, John.
Good morning.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yay. I am going to start off with a quick gratitude sandwich because we've got lots to do today. Not only am I going to help with some happiness coaching for you, I also have a really cool short interview with Chef Dean Sheremet. And some of you may know him. You've seen him. He's was a star on Fox's hit show, My Kitchen Rules, CW's Terry Crews Saves Christmas. He appears on Access Hollywood, CBS The Talk, Fox's Good Day LA, and Hallmark's Home and Family. So he's going to be in studio with a pre-recorded mini interview on clean cooking. So you'll have to stay tuned. That'll be right after Breakfast with John and I, where we are going to take a bite of my gratitude sandwich. So 8 specific things that you're grateful for. If you are streaming live and I see eyeballs rolling in, go ahead and in the chat, join us with your gratitudes and we'll knock out 8. And this is a habit that I want you to develop. So you're starting the day, instead of scrolling through all the bad news, you're balancing it out with your own good news, things that you're grateful for. So I'll start. I am grateful that the sun is shining because I'm solar powered. John?
Nice. I'm grateful for
What are you grateful?
I'm grateful for the inclement weather outside. It's actually sub temperatures, and there was a bunch of beautiful fog and frost this morning. So
great. And where are you hailing from?
New Mexico.
Oh, how cool is that? Well, I'm grateful that the planets did not crash into each other last night, and we are still here and living our best lives. What are you grateful for?
Sheer abundance. We're so spoiled. We're so lucky. There's so many abundant resources and good energy available. So just sheer abundance.
Beautiful. I am grateful that I have dropped now a record 35 pounds. And this is since February 14th last year. So I'm grateful that I have disciplined myself into the loss or release.
Good job.
And last one for you. Thank you.
Clarity. I have recently
Clarity.
I quit drinking alcohol over a year ago, and so it's my mission to just stay clear and sober.
Yay. Wonderful. So now we go to the bottom of the button, which is what do we appreciate about ourselves? And we both have kind of tiptoed into those areas, but specifically, why do we like ourselves? When we know what we're good at, when we know what we like, then we're less likely to look for a love and approval in all the wrong places. So that's why I ask you every morning or almost every morning on the show to be clear about what it is that we do well, are well, have well, and that way you're ready before you go to bed to whip out that list, because when you do, you're much more likely to have a good night's sleep instead of thinking about all the things you've done wrong or who done you wrong. You are appreciating yourself, which I believe is the foundation to claiming our birthright to happiness and to having an 88% happy life. So I appreciate that I have no fear for the most part. And when I have an impulse to do something or say something, I do. And 88% of the time, I do well with that. And 12% of the time, I step in it. So I'm going to do two appreciations. One is my no fear, and two is my go easy on myself, so that I'm a recovering perfectionist. So you go ahead and do two, John.
My willingness to share and ability to be open to learning.
Beautiful. All right. And my last one, or I guess I get, oh no, two more. Okay. I appreciate that I love to dress up and my fashionista sense of style. John?
Similar to yours, really embracing fearlessness and being okay with being vulnerable in the process.
Beautiful. Beautiful. My last one is I appreciate my allowing of beautiful things to happen in my life and attracting them. John?
One more. I appreciate my ability to cook and care for others.
Yay. Wonderful. Then that is Breakfast with Dr. Marissa and John Locke, who is here to be coached this morning. So thank you so much, John. Although your gratitudes and appreciation, I don't know why you're here because everything sounds great. So, but we'll see. Thank you so much for joining us for breakfast. And my happiness challenge is that you do this, whether you are on the air with me or not, for 30 consecutive days. And when you do that, I promise you will have your day sandwiched in the most positive way. All right. Now, before we get into what's going on with you, John, I am going to just show a great interview that I had the other day with Chef Sheremet. And so if you're a cooker, like you just said you were, John, this might be particularly interesting for you. So here's Chef Dean.
And welcome back. You're tuned into Take My Advice. I'm not using it. Get balanced with Dr. Marissa, the morning show here on NBC News Radio, KCAA, AM 1050, FM 106.5. And today I have a very special guest because the new year is a great time to start eating better and strive for a healthier lifestyle. Here to help us is nutritionist and super chef Dean Sheremet of the network show My Kitchen Rules. Chef Dean is teaming with the Propane Education and Research Council to reveal some new recipes and to share the benefits of cooking healthier meals with propane. Please welcome to my show, Chef Dean. And let me make sure I get this right. It's Sheremet. Yes?
Yes. Now you hit it right on the head, Doctor. I appreciate that.
Absolutely. Happy Chinese New Year. Happy New Year. And thank you for coming on to talk to us about healthier eating. So what does cooking clean mean?
Well, like you said, hopefully we're celebrating all those New Year's and we're having resolutions that go along with them. So for me, I'm just trying to, everyone's so focused on living healthier, eating cleaner, cooking cleaner, and, trying to figure out what are those actionable steps that we can take in our daily lives to, lessen our impact on the environment. Is that recycling, using, less hot water, and teaching people how cooking with propane is a great clean resource that you can add to that healthy lifestyle.
Fantastic. Now, where do we start and what types of meals can we make?
But you can make anything you want. And really, it just starts with understanding what you're cooking with. And the reason that I love to cook with propane is just that control. As a chef, especially, having that precision, having that control, knowing that you're also cooking the right oils at the right temperatures. A lot of people just reach for that olive oil and they dump it in a pan, they crank the heat up, and they don't realize how toxic that effect is on their indoor air quality. And teaching people the importance of ventilation and how to kick on that hood or open the door to make sure you're going to get that quality fresh air so that you're not creating a toxic environment while you're cooking delicious, nutritious foods.
That's great. It is a lot to, the whole driving electric cars. It's kind of like you're bringing the systemic way of thinking about cooking. So you're not just looking at the tunnel vision of what's in the pot or in the fry pan, but opening our eyes to the whole system of cooking. I love that.
Yeah,
That's
and I
great.
think, when you talk about systems, sorry, go ahead.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
Oh, no, I was going to say, when you talk about, systems and energy systems, I think a lot of people don't realize where a lot of that energy and electricity, we're in California where everyone wants to electrify everything and not really realizing at the end of that, a lot of it is powered by, natural gas and coal, which are not great things to put CO2 into the environment. So, I wish there was a one easy solution, but, knowing that you can kind of add propane into that energy mix along with solar and along with, wind power is just going to give you a better chance at lowering that carbon footprint.
Yeah, absolutely important. So why do top chefs like to cook with gas?
Yeah, and I kind of touched on the precision element of it. I used to work in fine dining for a guy named Jean-Georges in New York. And, you have people who are coming and paying a lot of money for a meal, and you want to make sure that you have the absolute perfect, most consistent product that you're putting out. And I feel the best way to do that is by cooking with gas and knowing that when I turn that flame down, I'm going to have the accurate heat for whatever I'm cooking for. And more importantly, as a father of a 4-year-old who runs around and sticks his hands where they don't belong most of the time, I know when I turn that flame off that it goes away, unlike those electric cooktops with the glass on the top that tend to stay hotter much longer, 15, 20 minutes. It gives me a lot of peace of mind as a parent.
Good point. Now, what are the environmental benefits of cooking with gas?
So one of the great things is that it does take you off of that grid. So, especially living in California, we're on a grid that how many rolling blackouts and brownouts and all the things that we kind of had to endure, or, the storms that hit us over the last couple of weeks. I had friends that were without power for days, and if they would have had a propane backup or having their kitchen powered by propane, you're still going to be able to put meals on the table for your family. You're still going to be able to heat your house and, run your life pretty much as normal.
Mm-hmm. Now, were there any other factors to consider
As far as
in
environmentally,
using propane?
Yeah, I mean, it's a much cleaner burning fuel source. It's going to put a lot less CO2 into the environment. And as you're a doctor, the things you're going to love, it's non-toxic, it's non-carcinogenic, and you really know what you're getting with it.
Now, is this the same propane that I've seen in some sushi restaurants? That, you know, when they put the glaze on top, it comes out and it's like a blue light flame?
Oh yeah, some of those you're talking about the little propane cans and the propane canisters to like sear things. Yeah, that's
right.
One of the great applications I love. Actually, I used to work for Nobu. I worked for Nobu for years, and we used to use those all the time to kind of sear things because it's a great, very clean burning, strong heat source.
Great. Now, where can we go for more information? Because I know that, okay, you sold me. Now, how do I start cooking with propane? What does the average person who's not a Michelin experienced chef, who's not been on a lot of different Good Day LA, CBS Talk, Access Hollywood kitchens, what do we do to be able to cook with propane?
Well, I think, obviously I've cooked with it in restaurants, but most people have fired up a backyard grill that has propane. So you have some familiarity with it. And if you want to incorporate it more into your energy mix, it's just, consulting with a local provider who can kind of help you do that effectively. And, it's just more about like maintaining your equipment and understanding some tips and tricks to help you cook effectively.
I want to go back to one point before I let you go. You said the toxins that are released when you fire up a pan and throw in olive oil?
Yeah, most people. So there's actually, if you go to the propane.com/Chef Dean, I'm going to include a whole chart on basically what oils to use for what cooking processes. And I think that's a big misnomer for people, is that they, you normally just have one bottle of olive oil that you kind of use for everything. And it has a certain smoke point, which you don't want to go past. So understanding that, a lot of what we do is unfortunately user error. So for me, like, I love being an educator and teaching people how to use the appropriate things, using the right tool for the right job.
Great. I think that would be super helpful. Thank you so much. I'm going to go there myself. You've been listening to Dr. Marissa with my very special guest, celebrity chef and certified nutritionist, Dean Sheremet. And for more information, go to www.propane.com/Chef D, right?
That's right, doctor.
All right. Thanks so much for the information, and have the best new year ever, Chef D.
Thank you. Take care.
I took myself out of there. I hope you enjoyed that interview with Chef Dean Sheremet. Interesting fact that I found out afterwards, he used to be married to Leanne Rimes. I didn't know that. So that was kind of cool. Did you learn anything from that, John?
Yeah, it had some really interesting and informed points. Yeah.
Okay, there's still a delay and a little hiccup on your video. So I am hoping that you can. Do you have a strong internet?
I do. It's showing full service and full.
Okay. So it's Mercury retrograde, even though if it isn't. So that's okay. We'll just keep going. But let's go ahead. And what I'd like you to do is put your feet on the ground, palms up in your lap, eyes gently closed, and taking a deep breath in through the nose and releasing. Soft shoulders, soft elbows, soft knees, activating the body with the breath. Another deep breath in. And releasing all the stories and the drama, connecting with the mind and emotions. And one more deep breath in. And releasing, connecting with me through Chi Eternal Energy, the breath of life, so that we are connected energetically now. Keep your eyes closed. I'm going to ask you a series of questions, and I'm going to ask you to rate the state of your relationships right now on a scale of 1 to 10, 1 being not so great, 10 being fabulous. If you could give me an average number for the state of your relationships, it can be the intimate ones, familial, what we did last week with Lizzie. It can be work relationships, but just relationships in general. What number would you give that?
8.
8. Awesome. And then on a scale of 1 to 10, same scale, health and well-being. How would you rate that?
7.
7. And then the last one, same scale, is job and career, money, energy, all of that.
6.
6. All right. So taking a deep breath in and release. When you're ready, open your eyes. And we're going to go with the 6, since that is the one that is lowest on your scale. 8 is fabulous. I do not expect anyone to be above 8. That's why I say it's not important to be happy 100% of the time, because you'd be dead. We need the contrast. So you are great with the relationships. 7, you are in doing very well on the 7 with, I think the longer you have sober, that would definitely raise the number there. So we're going to go to the 6. And I'm going to ask you, what would need to happen to get that 6 to a 7 or an 8? What is the opportunity here for you when it comes to raising the number of how you are rating your job, career, money, energy?
That's a good question. I have a huge skill set, and I really just need to focus on, 1, what makes me happy in either of the careers, and 2, really set the intention to focus in the career that makes me more fluid and financially stable.
Got it. So you have 2 things that you really like to do, or one maybe more than the other. And can I ask you what those are?
Cooking and construction.
Okay. So cooking, I'm guessing, is what you love to do. And maybe the money energy isn't there, but you love doing it, and you have hopes or intentions that eventually will get you to a place where you can get more money energy for that. And that construction is something that you know what to do. You've done it before. You continue to do it. You make good money, but it's not necessarily where your heart is.
Correct. Yeah.
Okay. So you're very normal in the sense that a lot of people who, the good news is, who thought they only could do one thing in life, right? Whatever you went to school for or have experience in, and you have that 10,000 hours under your belt and you're good at it, and you're kind of stuck. And one of the hashtag COVID silver linings that happened is people began to ask themselves, do I really want to do this? So I was excited about that, because people are now expanding their desires to do more than one thing, which is great. So that's what you're doing. But that transfer of still making money is something that has stopped people from doing something else, or get frustrated that they can't do the thing that they really want. So the first thing I'd like you to do is, you can't move to a place where you want to go if you hate where you are. Now that is, I'm sure you don't hate, that's a strong word, but a lot of people who want to be entrepreneurs or solopreneurs or move into something different come to me and say, I hate what I have to do. I hate the job. I hate the whatever it is. And I'm frustrated because I can't leave it because the money's good, or, I have to, I've got big bills that I need to pay. And so, help. And the first thing I say is, you can't get, as Abraham Hicks will say, you can't get from there to there. So the easiest way to attract more money energy in things that you love to do is begin to love what you still do. Now, you may already, like many people, have very strong mindsets or BS belief systems about what you do. And so that requires some movement in there. So before we talk about the cooking, I want you to say, maybe remember that first time that you were on the job, or remember the best times that you've had doing construction. Were there things that you enjoyed about that job that you can bring to mind and get you to break out of, I need to move? I'm not saying that you're not going to move, but can you give me, like the gratitude sandwich, what were some things that you enjoyed about doing or continue to enjoy to do about construction?
It's very empowering being able to apply your knowledge and skills and then building and creating something. So at the end of the day, you can look back and see this is what was accomplished through the day or the week.
There's a very close connection between your work and what you can visualize or see that has manifest. So that is definitely one of the things about construction. Whereas if you're in a big corporation and you're doing your work and it may not be tied visibly or understandably to the big picture, that's a longer link. So definitely that's an area, and that's my work as an aside, as an organizational psychologist, is to help people make that link stronger so they actually enjoy going to work. Okay. What's another thing that you like?
In the construction, or?
Yep. Can I help? How about the variety? The variety of projects, different buildings, whatever it is, different processes that you get to participate in. Yes?
That's a good one, yes.
Okay. What about, there's some individuals that are really fun to work with. They make you laugh. It's easy to get along with them. Not all, but the ones that that you want to have lunch with, or that you actually want to know when you say, how was your weekend, or what's going on? Is that possibly a benefit?
That was the first thing that popped in my head. Yeah. Customer satisfaction, getting to meet people, then doing the project, and then afterwards maintaining a relationship with them after.
Great. So you've got two there. You've got external customer service and internal customer service. So those you work with, I'm sure you don't do solo all the time. Sometimes you'll be working with people. That's what I call internal customer service, also known as team building. So do you, people that you like to work with, and then of course, servicing and making your client happy with the work that you've done. Okay. So there's 4 things that you can get very energetically wound up in and raise your vibration, raise that energetic feeling of appreciation and gratitude for the industry, for what you're doing. Now, when you do that, you're in a much better space to enjoy what you're doing and attract more opportunities to do other things that you enjoy as well. So the second BS belief system that I want to put the moose on the table about is a lot of people are high J's on the Myers-Briggs, which means you're judging. And judging does not mean a judgmental. High J's are people who want to know the answer. I want the solution. Is it good, bad, black, white, right, wrong? What category does it go into? And they're also the ones that say, jack of all trades, master of none. I have to keep doing what I'm doing. If I go into this other area, I don't really know as much as that I know in this area. And you can only do one thing well in life. And that to me is a BS belief system that keeps people from expanding who they are. Because who said you can only do one thing, right? That's a BS belief system that well-meaning parents, well-meaning teachers, well-meaning bosses, sometimes more mean than well. It's something that Americans in our society have embraced and taken for granted and not questioned. And so I fought against this my entire life. Like, who said that I can only do one thing? Now, it is true that it's not as easy as doing one thing, and you may be seen as not a master of one, but I believe that you don't have to necessarily just be a master at one. You can be an 88% master at a number of things in life. And I know that there's no do-over in this particular life. I'm not a Shirley MacLaine where I'm going to come back and redo necessarily. I believe I might, but I do know that this is it for this particular rendition of life. And why should I limit myself to just that one thing? So I would challenge you or suggest to you, John, that from this point on, you hold both the construction and the chef in the same space of value. So you don't have to choose, and you don't have to see one as taking the place of the other or competing with the other. Wouldn't it be great if you were a construction chef? If you could do both at the same time and not throw one at the expense of the other. And this, I think, is really, and I have a great track record with clients who have done this and realized that they were hurting themselves by believing that they had to throw one for the other. So in this space right now, what I'd like you to do is continue to have activities that promote construction and your ability to do that. So what does that mean? And promote your ability to do chef work. And what does that mean? So let me give you some practical examples for your day. So how do people become successful at their natural gifts, talents, and abilities? And this is something that we're not taught even when we go to specialty school. So let's say you go to school to be a psychologist, you go to school to be a dental technician, you go to school to be an accountant, excuse me, you go to school to be a construction expert. When we go to these schools, technical schools, degrees at college, it's really interesting how not until lately, you don't really understand you understand how to be good at what you're doing, but you don't understand how to broadcast or communicate what it is that you're doing. So that's why I do a workshop called Be the Best That You Can Be and Broadcast It. You can be the best construction worker in the world, But if you don't know how to share your unique talents, gifts, and abilities, you're kind of in that under the bushel, you're hidden. So as good as you are technically with construction, I want you to spend an hour every day capturing what you're good at in the construction. So as you're doing it, people do that and then they're so exhausted. The last thing they want to do is write down what they've done. But that is so important to be very clear and say, okay, John, in construction, what are some things that are key contributions that you make that you haven't, like, that in comparison to other people, you are extra good at? Can you answer that question for me?
I'm good in a lot of aspects of construction, so it's just not set in just drywall, just electrical, just plumbing. So I have an adverse background and knowledge of all aspects of construction.
Wonderful. So I would say that when people ask you, what are you good at? You say, I bring to the construction field not only specific expertise in plumbing, electricity, and drywall. I have done projects, and how many projects are those? I want you to sit down and be able to do a count of, put those three, and then put number. How many years have you been doing this? My guess is more than 10. So go back on average. How many jobs have you done in each of these areas? And then how many jobs have you done that required all three? That number in your experience is important to communicate when you are talking about, I'm good at instruction. I have X number of years. I've got a great track record. I've done 200 electricity installations. I've done 500 drywall jobs. I've done 800 plumbing jobs. And the best thing is, I've actually completed entire homes that required all three of these things in the last how many years and how many things. So do you understand the way I'm talking? Do you do that normally?
No, I've never actually, like you said, people and clients, they want to hear qualifications and skills. They just don't want to know that you can do the job. They want to be interested in the qualifications that got you to this point.
Yes. So that's important because I want you to have higher paying and shorter time jobs, or ones that you can be flexible around so that you have time to do the next activity, which is spending an hour a day on what I call Google Play. And this is a tool that I suggest for all of my clients, where you allow yourself. So first, do you meditate?
Yes.
Good. So meditation is the best and easiest way to get in the flow of having inspired thoughts and inspired action. So when do you have thoughts that come to you sometimes while you're meditating that say, oh, propane cooking, or, oh, I need to call so-and-so. He had a new recipe about whatever. Oh, it'd be nice to have a dinner party, and then I can try out that new recipe. So all those things that come to your mind while you're meditating, I don't want you to act on them. Just write them down. Those are inspired things, and then continue to meditate. the more that you meditate, and for those of you who don't meditate and like, oh, I don't have time, or I've sat still, I can't sit still, and there's so many things going on in my head that I can't sit still to meditate. All meditation is just no thought. And the no thought is important because we don't want our crazy monkey mind critical thinking, which sometimes beats us up, to get in the way of that flow from the energy of the universe that created all the dolphins in the ocean, all the that every drop of water, every grain of sand is different. Every one of us are different. That's the connection when we meditate. So when you're meditated, do you have those thoughts?
I do, and so that's kind of what brought me to the point where I am now. It's not that I was dissatisfied with the construction or the cooking, but I just didn't feel like a solid purpose. So a year ago, I was called to get into massage therapy and or fitness nutrition counseling. So I spent the last year studying, ready to take the massage examination, and then pass my fitness certifications, nutrition and health coach certifications. So
fantastic. So that's a third thing now that you've introduced, which is great. Now, I want you to practice smiling when you're talking. So yeah, nice smile. All right. Because part of our ability to communicate what we do well is to allow ourselves to be the best message bringer. And it is much more interesting for people to be attracted to smiles, laughter, lightness, positive, concern, and caring. And that is a natural state of who you are, John. But my guess is that you have what many of us who've gone through some kind of childhood trauma, a little bit of a lid on our happiness. And so I feel that from you. So I want you to, right now, close your eyes again and just take a deep breath. And I want in your exhale, I want you to see that lid that has been covering your pot of naturally high happiness, naturally high exuberance, naturally high exhilaration. And that lid that's been sitting on you for decades, my guess is 3 or 4 decades, is lifting off. There's with every day sober, with every day having new things to think about, that lid is lifting off a little. But I want to accelerate that lift today. While you're with me, I know who you are, John. I see who you are. You are a naturally vibrant, happy cork that wants to come and bob at the surface. But there's some critical messages that continue to daunt you, that continue to get in your way. And that's the pot cover. And I'm going to just use the power. I'm holding the hand of a friendly universe right now. My fingers are vibrating a bit. I don't know if you feel your fingers vibrating. And I'm just going to use that power. I'm going to grab your lid and I'm just going to open it up right now. And I'm just going to put the lid aside. And you're going to be tempted maybe sometime to put that lid back on. But I'm going to remind you that you are now hand in hand with my UPS man, my universal power source, who delivers every morning when you pray and meditate. And he's got the hand on the lid. You no longer have your hand on that lid. Take a deep breath in and release. And you're just in that exhale, you're just going to put that lid down. Have you put the lid down?
Yes.
Did you? Good. Now, take your hand off the lid and just leave it there. You're going to put that lid in the passenger seat of the driver. You're going to sit in that driver's side. You've got the wheel. You got both hands on the wheel now because the lid is in your passenger seat. Take a deep breath And release. Now come back into the room. All right. So do you have your hands on? You can open your eyes now. So I noticed there's an automatic smile on your face already. So that's good. So do you feel lighter?
Yes.
Good.
Thank you.
You're welcome. So what we just did, for those of you who've tuned in and you're wondering what the heck is going on in the studio, I'm making my guests close their eyes. We are doing some happiness coaching today with John. And it's wonderful what is happening right now, because I felt the need to remove his lid that has been squashing his natural exuberance and happiness, so that now he can communicate and be inspired to see and understand what he is capable of. And from that place, more opportunities will come. Because what happens when you put a lid on yourself is you are putting an umbrella or a layer of repellent to opportunities. And we all do it based on taking what's happened in the past that was not great and blocking our access to good. And when we're communicating, that blockage doesn't allow you to be the most effective communicator. So that lid not only has taken smiles off your face, it's also flattened your tone, pitch, and volume of your voice. So many of my clients who've had that childhood trauma or whatever, wherever it came from, have flat affect. So flat affect affects 40% of your communication. So when you're talking, 100% of communication is 40% is in your tone, pitch, and volume. So now that you've put the lid aside, you're going to begin to hear yourself speak with a little more modulation. And you can practice that, when after your meditation, do things like, yeah. Laughing yoga helps with that. There's so many things. So I want you to now practice in the mirror doing some strengthening of that modulation, so that when John speaks, it is not, yes, I do this and I do that and I'm good at this and I'm good at that, because that is the lid on. This flat affect affects 53% of your communication. So what's interesting in communication, I taught at UCLA for 6 years, and one of my favorite classes in the Anderson School was called Managerial Interpersonal Communication. And very highly successful, technically brilliant men, mostly in business, had that flat communication. So they weren't aware of it, but once we took the lid off, and some of my clients had a lot of trauma. I had my most marked client was someone who at 9 years of age walked into his father's office and watched in the moment that his father blew his head off in front of him. And the worst part of that trauma was that not what happened. That was horrific, but he was told not to ever talk about it. And that level of repression and trauma, he was making $5 million a year because he was very technically brilliant, but it took a toll on him until that moment where he could no longer push that down. And it was just heartbreaking to see the level of pain that he had pushed down. But the beautiful news is he was allowed to work with me and with the the OHI group. We were the T groups out of UCLA Extension, the engineering management group, and those T group interventions allowed him to release all that pain. And seeing him now versus then, he is a million times more effective, because now he doesn't have that lid on. And so I see the same for you. I see it already in your face. And so it's one thing to be good at what you're good at. It's a whole nother ball game to be able to communicate what you're good at. And this is going to help you with your fitness business, with your, diet health that ties into your chef. You, my client now, because you're with me, you're my client for this hour, is so brilliant, because now you've opened the pathway for more inspired ideas to connect those two. Because it's no accident that you like the chef thing, because healthy eating requires some chef. And your construction ability has allowed you not just to make financial energy, money energy in that. Systems, how to connect the dots, how to see how things interplay. That's a skill that can be effective in all of your endeavors. So in that hour a day, I want you to Google whatever comes to mind. Healthy eating chefs, propane gas cooking, workouts and health. Whatever comes to your head, I want you to Google. In my family, I have two beautiful people who work for Google. So we don't say Google it. We say Christina it or Aaron it. Because both of my niece and nephew work there. So, but I want you to spend an hour with that inspired thought. So you're having an hour with your communication play, right? Articulating what you do and what you want to do, and then an hour just free form. And what you're doing from this point forward is planting seeds. So when you communicate what you're doing, it's not going to be difficult in the sense that you don't need to. You'll see something grow, and then you'll be tempted to pull it out and say, why aren't you growing? You don't need to. You're a farmer now. In every one of your endeavors, you're just planting seeds. Does that make sense?
Yeah, planting seeds and pulling weeds in the process.
Yes, exactly. And the weeds is the top of your lid. That's all you have to pull. So every time you go to put it back on, I want you to take it off and say, thank you very much. I want more. I want more. Good?
Great. Wonderful. Thank you so much. Yeah, that's great.
Absolutely. Insight. Absolutely. That was wonderful. Thank you so much, John, for being open and available and learning. And please do come back and in a month, maybe, and let me know what's happened. Okay?
Sounds great. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. And we're right to the end of the hour. And I'm grateful that I actually saw the 3 minutes this time. I just want to do a quick shout out for one of my best sponsors. His name is Dana, and he helps with my ticket giveaways, which is today I'm giving a pair of tickets to Paul Anka concert, and it's a wonderful concert that's going to be happening this Saturday, February 4th. I'm going. So the first person to go to drmarissa.life and put Paul Anka down will get that free pair of tickets. Very popular concert, popular venue. So that is for this Saturday. Go to drmarissa.life and put Paul Anka. Thank you so much for tuning in today for Life Balance Happiness Coaching with Dr. Marissa. We'll see you tomorrow. I have a great new guest. She's going to be here. She's a psychic, and I can't wait for her message. So remember, it's all about balance, peace in, peace out, world peace through inner peace. Now go and have the best day ever.